flexible coupling. But we know very well flexible couplings are classified into three types. One is universal joint or a hook joint. Second one is the Oldham coupling. And third one is the bush pin type flexible coupling. Again, here in the DME 1's course, we are not going to design here Oldham as well as the hook joint or universal joint. And if you would like to design such a coupling, it's very some simple one. You can use the fundamental equation that you studied during your unit number 1, that is design against static load. Now, today we are going to see design of bush pin type flexible coupling. You can note down this in your notebook also. And before that, I would like to show the video 2 times. I have run this video. Let us observe this video. You will find here it's a flexible bush pin type coupling. It consists of here input shaft, flange, then key. By using key, input flange, which is mounted on the input shaft, then another output here, another flange, that is output flange, then output shaft, and then key is used to properly mount this output flange on the output shaft. Again, here keys are located at 90 degree. I was asked one question to you, why their location at 90. Then here the pin which is used. Now here, so you will find the pin is having a thread at one of the end over which brush bush and the rubber bush are mounted. In this video, directly these pins are shown with brush as well as rubber bush mounted on the pin. And after that, now here, how it is going to fit, you can observe here. Here, it is fitted or it joins or connects input flange with the output flange. And from this side, another side, or this pin is having here threads. By using the nut, we can tighten it properly. This is about the flexible bush or bush pin type flexible coupling. Try to understand. I don't want to go more again here, but before that I would like to start today's session. Now your learning objective of today's session is after this session you will be able to design a bush pin type flexible coupling. Already I have discussed some of the points, and today I would like to recap once again these points with you. Again, what is the difference between the rigid and the flexible coupling? You know very well, rigid couplings are preferred when perfect alignment between axes of the shafts are there. That means coaxiality is required or precise alignment is required in case of rigid coupling. Then motion should be free from vibrations and shock. That is the requirement for rigid coupling. But in actual practice, what is happening? It's not possible to have a precise alignment between the two shafts, or it is impossible to have a perfect alignment of the shafts. And what are the reasons for that? One is the deflection of the shaft due to lateral forces. Because of that deflection, there is no possibility of perfect alignment. Second, mounting, because of mounting of the parts here, and during manufacturing, you will find some error in dimension of the shafts. That's why you will find it's not possible to maintain a perfect alignment. Then again, sometimes to join electric motor to the worm gear, and these two units are separately. And if there is no perfect alignment or precise alignment, how to connect such a two parts, that is electric motor or a worm gearbox? This is another thing. And sometimes thermal expansion of the form, the parts or elements going to occur in certain situation. And because of this reason, it is impossible to have a perfect alignment or a precise alignment between the input as well as output or driving or driven shafts. And that's why, how to cope with this problem, we have to go for a flexible coupling. I have already discussed these points. And for that purpose, you have two options, three options. One is a universal joint or a hook joint when shafts are inclined. Another one is the Oldham coupling when shafts are parallel at some distance. I have explained all these things, but we are not going to design these two couplings. But third one, that is bush pin type flexible coupling. Therefore, it permits the misalignment as well as it absorbs the shocks and vibration. And why the word flexible is used? You have observed the video. In video, you will find on the pin the brass bush and rubber bush which is provided. And because of this, that rubber bush, it absorbs or it helps to absorb these shocks and vibrations. And that's this rubber bush is a flexible element. That's why name is given flexible coupling. Try to understand. That's why we are going to say it's a bush pin type flexible coupling. Another important thing, this flexible coupling, it permits some misalignment and absorbs shocks and vibration. And how much misalignment this coupling is going to tolerate? So you know very well, 0.5 mm of lateral misalignment and 0.5 mm of axial misalignment. Lateral and axial misalignment that is permitted in case of flexible coupling. And it also tolerate 1.5 degree of angular misalignment. That means if axis of the driving and driven shaft that is 1.5 degree, that is inclination, and they are not coaxial, even though it can tolerate it. So these misalignments are permitted in case of flexible coupling. This is about bush pin type. So you know very well what is the difference between the rigid and flexible coupling. Sometimes in examination, such a type of questions are asked. Compare rigid flange coupling and bush pin type flexible coupling. Now look at this. In video and animation you have seen is construction, but actually while designing it, you should know all the elements and their standard proportions. Now compared with rigid flange coupling, there is somehow the difference in construction of input flange and output flange. In case of rigid flange coupling, you will find dimension of the input flange and the output flange same, but here you will find dimensions are somehow different. Now look at this. Now the diagram here you will find this is input shaft, this is output shaft, then input one which here this is the flange. You can say it's a input flange, it's a output flange. This is a hub part of the flange. This is a hub part of the output flange, and this is symmetric one. That's why I have not shown toward this side. Second, this flange or a hub which is mounted on the shaft by using key. Here another key is used on the output shaft also to fit this output flange. Try to understand. Then second, how these two flanges, input flange and the output flange are connected or joined. For that purpose, look at the cursor. This pin is used here. This pin is used. Now here, in case of rigid flange coupling, nut and bolts are used and bolts are having threads. But in this case, this pin, or you can see it's the shank part, doesn't have any thread. But after that here, where this part of the pin which is going to insert in the output flange, you will find here the pin is having threads and on which we are going to feed this nut to tighten it properly. Try to understand. This is pin and D1 is the nominal diameter of the pin and this is the extended diameter of the pin. Try to understand. This is pin head over which look at this here dark, the black color. Both this it's a cut section. That's why both the side I have shown the black color by brass lining here. And over which the brass lining by green color rubber bush which is mounted here. Try to understand. And in this way, that depends on number of the pins, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, depends on diameter of the shafts like a rigid coupling. We will decide. Again, second thing here, you will find length LB. Now here, look at this. This is LH means length of hub and that is equal to 1.5 times the diameter of the shaft. Small d is the diameter of the input shaft or diameter of the output shaft. Then second thing, here hub is shown here. In rigid, don't make any confusion because in rigid flange coupling, we have used capital D for a diameter of the hub. Here we are going to use DH is the diameter of the hub in case of flexible coupling. Then we have used D1 for the PCD of the nut and bolts in case of rigid coupling. But in this case, we are going to use capital D. Try to understand. Capital D means P circle diameter of pin. Try to understand here. And here outer diameter I have not shown. In the rigid coupling I have shown D2 is the outer diameter of the flange. But in this case, outer diameter you can say capital D1, that we have to find out. There is no empirical relation directly to take the outer diameter. So that means what you have to do. So first of all, find out the diameter of the shaft, then design the key, then design for a hub, then design for flange. Then once you know the diameter of the shaft, you will get diameter of the hub. Once you know the diameter of the shaft, you will get the PCD of the bush pin. Here, P circle diameter at the pin center. And here it is given 3 times diameter of the shaft to the 4 times diameter of the shaft. It's your choice. You can take 3D or 3.5D or up to 4D, no problem. After that, you will find out how to find out this outer diameter of the flange. I will explain later on. Then thickness of the flange. How to consider here thickness of the flange on the output for output flange. It is equal to 0.5 times the diameter of the shaft. Then thickness of the protective part here, it is shown here. You can say again it is a 0.5 times the diameter of the shaft, and its thickness T1 is equal to 0.25 di. You will know very well it is like a rigid coupling. It's also like a rigid coupling. Only the change on this input flange, you will find this length of bush. Now what we have to do, when pin is inserted in between these two flanges, there is a gap of 5 mm. There is a gap of 5 mm. They are not going to touch with each other. Try to understand. If they are going to touch, there is a friction. Because of a friction, frictional force gets induced and more torque is required. Again, wear of the flanges may occur. That's why here some small gap is maintained, and generally this gap you have to consider it as a 5 mm. Try to understand. It's a general one. Then again here, LB is the length of bush on this input plane that we have to find out. And total length of this, if you are going to find out LB plus this 5 mm, you can add, you will get the length of this rubber bush, length of this brush lining or a brush bush also. Try to understand. This is about the construction of a bush pin type flexible coupling. If you have a notebook and pen with you, you can construct this diagram within 2 minutes. Try to construct this. This is input shaft, this is output shaft, mount here input flange, then output flange, show here this is LB, this is rubber bush, this is brush bush, show here there is no threads, threads are provided towards this side, D1 is the nominal diameter of this thread, or you can say the pin for which we are going to put this nut. The circumferential limb for the protective part T1 is equal to 0.25 times the D. Thickness of the flange, that is 0.5 times the diameter. Diameter of the hub is equal to 2 times diameter of the shaft. PCD of the pin, that is in the range of 3D to 4D. And length of hub, that is 1.5 times to the shaft diameter. In this way, you can construct the diagram. I will give you 1 or 2 minutes. You can do this activity within 2 minutes. It's like a rigid coupling, only somehow there is a change in only instead of nut and bolts here pin is used. Again, bushes, the brush bush and rubber bushes are provided, and rubber bush is the flexible one. That's why name is given bush pin type flexible coupling. Try to understand. Again, here in design, in some of the the steps involved in rigid flange coupling, which remain same for the design of this bush pin type flexible coupling also. I will discuss after this slide. First of all, you have to construct it. I have taken this diagram. It's constructed by me, but referred VB Bandari's book for the same. You can refer also, no problem. Don't use proportion, just you should know the nomenclature where is the thickness of the flange, where is the thickness of this, the part, protective part, then thickness, diameter of the hub DH, then diameter of PCD. That is important because we are going to use these terms during our, the design of this bush pin type flexible coupling. I hope you have completed this, or otherwise you can refer VB Bandari's books for the nomenclature as well as the figure also. Now let us move to design of coupling. Now again here we are going to use some empirical relation. I have already told you, but even though you can write down these empirical relations, the diameter, outer diameter of the hub, that is DH is equal to 2D. Then P circle diameter of the pin, capital D is equal to 3 times diameter of shaft to the 4 times. Then length of the hub, LH is equal to 1.5 times the diameter. Then thickness of the output flange, 0.5 times the diameter. Thickness of the protective rim, 0.25 times the diameter, where D is the diameter of the shaft. That means once you know the diameter of the shaft, you can easily find out these are dimensions which are related to bush pin type flexible coupling. So before that, yesterday we have solved one problem related to rigid coupling. Material may be given, if not given, you can select material, take their properties, select FOS, and based on that, find out the permissible stresses. Same procedure you can follow for bush pin type coupling. Now, you can write first step, find out the permissible stresses based on the material and factor of safety. This is step number 1. You can do is as usual practice while designing any machine element or design which is rational design to find out dimensions. Now we are first one design of shaft. Again, you know very well when shaft is going to rotate, the main function is to transmit torque and power. Because of this, when it is going to rotate, the twisting, the torsional shear stresses are going to induce in it during the torque transmission. Therefore, we have to use as usual equation tau is equal to MTR by J. R is equal to D by 2 diameter of the shaft by 2, and J is the polar moment of inertia for circular shaft, pi by 32 into D raised to 4 for solid one. So you will get tau is equal to 16 MT by dq. Here what you have to do, what is the material used for the shaft? You can use APS, find out the tau permissible is equal to 0.5 SYT upon FOS. You can substitute here. MT means torque transmitted. You will get this value from power transmitted at some RPM. Yesterday we have solved such a type of problem. So what you have to do, you have to find out the diameter here. D cube is equal to, or D is equal to. So by using this expression, you can easily find out the diameter of the shaft. Once you know the diameter, what is your next step? Find out all these standard, use empirical relations to find out DH, capital D, LH, T, and T1. This is about step number 1. This is design of shaft. Then step number 2, in case of flexible bush coupling, I have written here flange. Forget about this, not a flange, is a bush pin type coupling. I am going to correct it also, no problem. Design of bush coupling. Okay, I will correct it from correct slide. And you can write here design of bush coupling itself. Now second step is design of hub. How to design the hub? Like a rigid flange coupling, same thing. Again here, look at the diagram or the figure also. I have already explained. This is hub. This part is the hub part here. Look at this. This part is a hub part. Hub which is mounted on the shaft by using the key. Hub is a hollow cylindrical part or a sleeve. So what you have to do while designing a hub, consider it as a hollow cylinder or a sleeve. So considering it as a hollow shaft, having inner diameter means diameter of the shaft, that is small d, and outer diameter of the hub, we have used the nomenclature DH. So what we have to do, the here you can use in this formula DH. So what determine the what is happening as the shaft is going to transmit the torque, hub is mounted on the shaft. As shaft rotates or transmits torque, hub is also going to transmit, and because of that, torsional stresses are going to induce in it. And because of that, what you have to do, induce torsional stress that you have to find out. So you can use this expression for a hollow shaft. So for this purpose, MT is equal to pi into tau into 16. Don't use D here, DH, because we have considered here outer diameter of the hub is dh. So you can use dh. Try to understand. Dh raised to 4 minus small d raised to 4 upon dh. I have made here correction, but here h should be the suffix. Dh is the outer diameter of the hub. Capital D, you can add here h. You make correction here. Try to understand. Then D is the inner diameter of the hub, and mt is the torque transmitted. By using this expression, what you have to do? Find out this tau. So once you, tau means torsional shear stress induced in the hub, and this determined tau should be less than the permissible tau for the hub material. And you know very well, hub is a part of a flange. Flange are made up of a cast iron or a gray cast iron. So you can put this value tau permissible from this material property, or you can check it induced torsional shear stress by using this expression and compared with the tau permissible from the by using FOS find out tau permissible, and these calculated and permissible, the calculated should be less than the permissible. Like a rigid flange coupling, you have to do this activity, nothing more than that. Try to understand. That means design of shaft, design of hub, which is same like a rigid flange coupling. Try to understand. Only nomenclature I have used DS, that's why you can make correction of here instead of capital D, DH. Try to understand. Then next one, third component to connect this, the put or mount the flange input as well as the output on the shaft, we are going to use a key. Again, in rigid flange coupling also, it's your choice. You can select a square key or a rectangular key. Generally, I have told you to prepare a rectangular or a flat key. Again, same, already you studied the design part, how to design a flat key or a rectangular key. Look at this. This is the width. This is the height of the key. This is length of key, 1.5 times diameter. If it's a rectangular key, you know very well. Width of key is equal to D by 4, and H is equal to 2/3 of B, or H is equal to here D by 6. Try to understand. H is equal to small d by 6 for flat key or rectangular key. For a square key, B is equal to D by 4 or H is equal to D by 4. So you can use this empirical relation, find out the dimension and substitute here. So what you have to do, once you know the length of key is equal to 1.5 times the diameter of the shaft, what you have to do? Flat key or a square key is going to fail again due to shear as well as crushing. So what you have to do? Design a key against shear failure, design a key against crushing failure. Try to understand. Already you know very well how to design a flat or a square key. So these are the expression. Tau is equal to 2mt upon dBl. This is for shear failure. Sigma c is equal to 4mt upon dhl. This is for crushing failure. So by using this expression, you can find out tau permissible. Here, sorry, tau. Here you can find out sigma c crushing stress. And these are calculated tau and calculated sigma c should be less than the permissible shear stress and permissible crushing stress. Try to understand. And then you can say your design is safe. Or sometimes instead in same examination they may ask the question to find out the length of key. You can use this, suppose it's a rectangular key, you can find out B is equal to D by 4, H is equal to D by 6, and you have to find out the length of key. What you have to do? For a given material for the key, you can find out tau permissible 0.5 SYT upon FOS, sigma c is equal to SYT upon FOS. Then what you have to do? 2mt upon dBl and 4mt upon dhl. You can substitute dB here dh and find out length against shear failure, length again crushing failure, and whichever is the larger length, that you can say your length of the key. This is the another approach. Sometimes such a question may ask in same examination. Otherwise, you can check in case of design of coupling for tau induce and sigma c induce, and it should be less than the permissible stresses. Try to understand. This is about the third element, design of key. That means you will find here, if you are going to compare with design of rigid coupling, design of shaft, design of hub, design of key, the procedure which is same like a rigid coupling for a bush pin type coupling. Only what are the changes that I will explain. Now next point is design of flange. How to design? Again here this procedure is also same. Yesterday we have seen what is happening. Look at the portion. This is a flexible coupling, hub and flange part here. So what is happening when this flange which is going to transmit the torque So you will find it is going to subject it to shear at the junction of this hub and the flange. So what is going to happen because of this? So we have to consider the shear force or shear area that we have to consider. How to consider it? Like rigid coupling, shear area is equal to, because it's a circular one, the pi circumferential, that's why pi is considered. What is diameter of the hub? That is dh, and thickness of the flange, that is t. We have considered here t in this nomenclature. The pi dh into t is the area under the shear. Find out shear force. The shear force is equal to this area into shear stress, that is tau. Again, what is happening? When it is going to transmit the torque, resisting torque gets induced to opposite, and that is we have to find out by shear force into dh by 2. Why dh by 2? Because this junction, which is going to subject to shear, that's why dh by 2. Therefore, resisting torque is equal to pi dh into t, that is shear area into shear stress into dh by 2. So here this is force into radius, that is mt. Simple expression. By using this expression, what we have to do? So you have to find out this tau. Try to understand. That means shear stress induced at the junction of the hub and the flange here. So by you can use this expression and find out the shear stress induced at the junction of hub. And this induced shear stress should be less than the permissible shear stress for flange material. Try to understand. This by using this expression, find out this tau, and this tau should be less than the permissible shear stress for the flange material. The same procedure yesterday we have followed for rigid coupling also. That means up to this design of flange, procedure is same. That means design of shaft, design of key, design of hub, and design of flange, procedure is same. Only nomenclature is changed, that is dh, and thickness of flange, that is t. Try to understand. Nothing, there is no more difference in rigid and bush. Only the difference which is going to occur or happen, instead of nut and bolts, bush pin type pin and nut which is used to connect input and output planes. Try to understand. Now let us see what is that is difference. Now look at this. The first of all, in yesterday in rigid flange coupling, you will find we have calculated the nominal diameter of the bolt. But in this case, we are going to use a pin. Pin means is pin is having a head, then shank part, and at the end there is a step having a threads. And to connect these two flanges, input as well as the output flange, we have to use a nut. Try to understand. Now here, how to find out the diameter of the pin? Diameter of the pin means, if possible, if I don't know, I have a figure here. Yes, look at this here. I would like to show. This is pin head. This is pin part. Here brass lining, here rubber bush. This is the threaded part here, and this is the nut which is used, and D1 is the nominal diameter of this threaded part, or you can say the bush or a pin. Now here what you have to do, how to find out this diameter of the pin? For that purpose, we have to find out this small d1. The small d1, again you can refer the diagram. You know very well, small d1, this diameter that you have to find out. Okay, so I am going to find out this diameter, the small d1. How to find out? Again, you have to use this relation. It's a standard one. 0.5 times shaft diameter upon under root n. What is n? Capital N. N means number of pins used here. How to decide the number of pins? So you can write here. On next slide, I have written n is equal to 3 when shaft diameter is up to 30 mm. Number of pins is equal to 4 when shaft diameter D up to 75 mm. N is equal to 6 when shaft diameter is up to 110. N is equal to 8 when shaft diameter is up to 150. Try to understand. By using shaft diameter, you can select the number of pins. Up to 30 mm diameter 3, 75, 4, 110, 6, and up to 150 and more than 110, 8. Try to understand. So what you have to do? You have to use number of pins here based on shaft diameter. Once you know the number of pins and shaft diameter, you can easily find out the diameter of pin here. Second thing, what is happening? Look at this. Now these are the pin. diameter D1, over which you know very well extended part of the pin, over which there is a brass bush, and after that this is a rubber bush. I have shown here. When this flanges to transmit the torque, or it is subjected to torque. Look at this MT. So what is happening? Like a rigid coupling here also, these force P which gets exerted on the rubber bush. And why exerted on the rubber bush? To resist it. This is the resisting force to this MT or a torque. Try to understand. And this resisting force again perpendicular like the rigid flange coupling. So what we have to do? We have to find out this resisting force. And because of that, you will get the resisting torque also. How to find out this? So we know very well MT is equal to this resisting force on each bush. P into D by 2. Why capital D here used? Capital D is the PCD of the pin. Look at the diagram. This is PCD of the pin, P circle diameter of the pin. That's why D by 2 into N. N means number of pins. Number of pins. So by using this expression, MT is the torque transmitted you will get from the power. P is the resisting force to resist this torque transmission. D is the PCD of the pin, N number of pins. So by using this expression, you will get this P resisting force. Try to understand. But what is happening here? In rigid coupling, nut and bolts are used. Here, pins are used, and over the pin there is a brass bush, over which rubber bush. And because of this rubber bush, when they are properly plated, there is no clearance. What is happening? There is bearing pressure plays important role. Try to understand bearing pressure. Because of rubber bush and brass bush, there may be possibility of relative motion. And what we have to do, if there is a bearing pressure, relative motion, I have already explained the bearing pressure is there. So you can take here permissible intensity of pressure on this rubber bush. How to find out this? Force upon area is equal to permissible intensity of pressure between this flange and rubber bush. Try to understand, because this rubber bush is inserted in between the input flange. Try to understand. And that's why how you are going to correlate with this? P is equal to dB into LB. The projected area, how you are going to find out? dB. What is dB? Outer diameter of the bush, and LB means length of the bush. Projected area that you have to consider into PM. What is PM? It's a permissible intensity of pressure between the flange and the rubber bush. And if you don't know the value, generally it is taken as this pressure between the flange and rubber bush, which is taken as 1 Newton per mm square. Try to understand. So you can substitute this value of P here in MT. So what you will get? MT is equal to dB into LB into PM into d by 2 into N. This is the expression. Try to understand. Yeah. Now here, by using this expression, you know the MT. You are going to select the intensity of pressure between flange and rubber bush, that is 1 Newton per mm square. You know the D means PCD is equal to 2D or 3D or 4D. N means number of pins. So what you will get here, by using this expression, you will get diameter, outer diameter of the bush or length of the bush. Try to understand. Again here, once you know the dB or LB, how to find out? So for that purpose, you can assume LB upon dB is equal to 1 or LB is equal to dB. Try to understand. If you are going to assume LB is equal to dB, you will get dB square and you will get dB here. Try to understand. Then find out LB. It's a assumption. LB is equal to generally dB. That means by using this expression, you will get LB or dB. This is about, that means by using this analysis, you will find the nominal diameter of the pin, you will find the outer diameter of the bush dB or length of the bush LB also by referring this relation. Try to understand. This is about the diameter of pin and diameter of the rubber bush. But here, what is going to happen? To transmit the torque by using this pin is going to subject direct shear stresses also. You know very well, like a rigid coupling, we have yesterday while solving the problem, we have determined the nominal diameter of the bolt by using the shear failure. And we have checked this diameter by checking the induced crushing stress. But in this case, permissible bearing pressure between the bush and the flange. And here, second one is the pin is also subjected to direct shear stress is correct. Because to transmit that, it is inserted in between the two flanges. That's why shear failure of the pin is going to occur. And that's why what we have to do, we have to check it, or we have to determine shear stress induced in the pin. How to find out it? The tau is equal to force upon area. This resisting force P upon pi by 4 into d1 square. And you know very well this P. Where is you will get this P? In our on earlier slide, I have shown here P. So you can write P is equal to 2mt upon this capital D by capital D into N. So you have to use this P, try to understand. So you can do this. So by using this P here, so what you will get the expression? Tau is equal to 8mt upon pi into D into N into D1 square. D1 you know very well from the what? This expression. Which expression? This expression. 0.5 times the under root N. Try to understand. So what you have to do? To find out shear stress induced in the pin. So by using this equation, find out this tau, and this tau should be less than the permissible shear stress, and then you can say your D1 or capital D, which is safe for the pin or PCD or a nominal diameter of the pin. Try to understand. This is about the design of pin. But here, as per the IS code, this permissible shear stress should not be greater than 35 Newton per mm square. Now, generally, what is the material for use for the pin? You will find it's a plain carbon steel material used for the pin. But if you don't know the pin, the actual in industry, they are preparing the practice. The induced shear stress in the pin should be less than 35 Newton per mm square as per the Indian standard. Try to understand. If it is not mentioned, you can check the pin. Otherwise, if material is given for the material, you can find out tau permissible 0.5 SYT upon FOS. You will get tau permissible. You can check this induced stress with the tau permissible. If it's less, you can say your design is safe. This is about the design of the pin. Now, what is happening here? Look at the diagram. Once again, I would like to show the diagram to you. Here, the rubber rubber bush are mounted up to this LB. Some part is free, that is 5 mm. I have already told this gap is 5 mm. And because of that, what is happening? This pin is going to subject to bending failure also. That's why we have to check the bending stresses. That's why in this bush pin type coupling, another part which is coming extra than the rigid plane coupling, that is bending stresses in the pin. Look at the diagram. I will explain. It's very simple one. How to find out it? It's a head of the pin. It's a extended diameter of the pin, and it's the D1. Here nut is used. Again here length of the bush, that is LP. Try to understand. Here this part is brush bush, and this part is rubber bush, over which the flange, which is input flange, which is mounted. Because of this rubber bush, it absorbs shocks and vibration and permits some misalignment also. The assuming uniformly distributed load over this bush, we have to carry out the analysis. How to carry out? The first of all, to find out the bending stresses, you know the simple expression, sigma b is equal to 32 mb upon pi d1 cube. We are going to use it. So before that, we have to find out, because D1 is the nominal diameter for the pin. That's why D1 we are going to use it like a shaft. What is MB? MB is the bending moment that we have to find out. How to find out the bending moment? Look at this P, which is acting here. Length is LB. To convert it into point load, the P into LB by 2. I have written here P into or P LB by 2 plus here. What is the gap here? 5 mm. So total length how much? P is going to act at a distance of LB by 2 plus this 5 mm. Try to understand. That's why P in bracket this 5 plus here LB by 2. Therefore, you will get MB is equal to P in bracket 5 plus LB by 2. You can substitute this value here. And you know the D1. D1 you will get from under root, you know the N 0.5 times the shaft diameter, and under root N means number of pins. So you will get this D1. So you can substitute all the values, you will get bending stress. and you can check this bending stress is less than the permissible bending stress. Try to understand for the pin material. So you have to, in this way, you have to check the induced bending stress. This is about the design of pin. But now how to construct the, how to decide the dimension of the pin? You know the D1. D1 you will get, I have already told from that formula, from the diameter of the shaft, and under root N means number of pins. Then enlarged diameter of the pin, look at this, D1 plus 6. This enlarged diameter of the pin, look at this here. The cursor, this is enlarged diameter. This is D1 and here it is enlarged. And this is what, how you are to take D1 plus 6. D1 means this nominal diameter of the pin plus 6 you can add, you will get enlarged diameter. Then thickness of the bush lining, look at this, this is the bush. It's a cut section, this side also, this side also. It's a 2 mm. So what you have to do? You have to add 2 mm this side, 2 mm this side. Total how much you will get here? The thickness of the bush lining 2 mm. The inner diameter, this is rubber bush. So how much is the inner diameter of the rubber bush? The enlarged diameter plus 2 mm from this side, 2 mm from this side. So I have written here, inner diameter of the rubber bush is equal to D1 plus 6, that means enlarged diameter, plus 2 mm of this side, 2 mm of this side means 4 mm. The inner diameter of the rubber bush here, this is the inner diameter of the rubber bush, D1 plus 6 plus 4 mm. And what is the outer diameter of the rubber bush? Again here, minimum thickness of rubber bush is 10 mm. 10 mm from this side, 10 mm from this side. That means total how much? 20. 10 plus here 2. Again here D1 plus 6, 2 plus again 10. You can edit. Here you will get outside diameter of the rubber bush D1 plus 6, that is enlarged diameter, plus 4 mm for the brush bush, 2 mm, 2 mm. And again 10 mm, 10 mm, 20. I have added here. So you will get total here outer diameter of the rubber bush. In this way, you can find out the outer diameter of the rubber bush. Now the question arises, this is about the design. And I am going to say thank you. But before that, how to decide the outer diameter of the flange? Because in rigid flange coupling, we have used here D, D1, D2 is the outer diameter of the flange by using empirical relation. So what you have to do, look at this. Up to this PCD, you know, 3D to 4D, you are going to come at the center. Then again from the center, you can edit extended diameter of the pin. Then you can edit thickness of the brush bush 2 mm. You can edit 10 mm thickness for the rubber bush up to this. Then here you have to add 4 to 5 mm gap and then add T1 is equal to 0.25. That means from this center up to this, you will get the diameter radius and you can multiply it by 2. You will get the outer diameter of the plane. Try to understand. That means this T1 plus 4 to 5 mm plus outer diameter of the rubber bush or radius of the rubber bush from the center, and from the center the radius of the PCD of the pin. By using this mathematics or formula, you can edit all the dimensions. You will get the outer diameter of the bush pin type coupling. This is about the design of bush pin type coupling. I hope you understand. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you have any query, you can contact us. WhatsApp me at 9890426679 or mail me at pbkushar@kkwalk.edu.in. No problem. This is
Yes,
about the design of bush pin type coupling. And tomorrow
you
or day
can.
after tomorrow, we will discuss or we are going to solve the problems on bush pin type flexible coupling. Thank you. Thank you very
Tushare sir,
much.
Tushare sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Students can also post on Google Classroom also. Okay,
If
if you
you
have
have a
any.
query, you can post on Google Classroom, or even
Hmm.
though we will answer your query through the phone or the WhatsApp, we will get the
Yes,
idea what are the, the your queries or your problem you are facing also, no problem. Again, in
okay.
the morning, I have uploaded some of the videos related to design of shaft, design of rigid coupling also, and Professor Nichit is going to upload a design of spines also video
Yes,
prepared
yes.
by us. And in morning, I have uploaded the post assignment which is related to unit number 2, design of shaft keys coupling. Try to solve it. Some, the last dates which is also given in PDF. Try to stick to the scheduled dates to get a good marks also. And if you are facing some problem, you can ask us, share with us. We will try to solve your problem. Thank you. This is about today's session. Thank you. I am going to close your session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.